Who was Tamar? According to biblical testimony, Tamar was a beautiful young woman, daughter of King David. She was sweet and kind, with a pure heart, but unfortunately had her life ruined by an act of dishonor and violence committed by her own brother, Amnon. This traumatic event of abuse brought deep and lasting consequences. In addition, the social stigma associated with abuse certainly affected the self-esteem of young Tamar and her ability to form healthy relationships in the future. Stay with us and let's learn more about who Tamar was, the beautiful young woman who was violated by her half-brother Amnon. Her story is recorded in the book of 2 Samuel. But before that, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell to be notified whenever there is a new video on the channel. Tamar means palm tree in Hebrew. This name was common among women of the time and may have been chosen to represent beauty, vigor, or vitality. It is interesting to note that the name Tamar seems to have been popular in Israel, as another woman mentioned in the Bible had this name, Tamar, daughter-in-law of Judah, son of Jacob. As described in the book of Genesis, chapter 38, verse 6. Tamar was a beautiful and virgin young woman, daughter of the great King David. She had everything to have a peaceful and happy life. However, she became a victim of a terrible crime committed by her half-brother, Amnon, son of Ahinoam from the city of Jezreel. As mentioned in the second book of Samuel, chapter 3, verse 2. Tamar was violated, abused, and despised. Scholars believe that this fact occurred in 1050 BC. This act of violence not only caused traumatic damage to Tamar but also deeply shook the entire structure of the royal family, causing a series of catastrophic events. These misfortunes in the lives of David's sons began after the king committed two serious sins, adultery with Bathsheba and the death of her husband Uriah. Uriah was a man loyal to David but was killed by him in a very cowardly way. To better understand Uriah's tragic story, just watch the video that is now appearing at the top of the screen. Tamar was so beautiful that her older half-brother Amnon became so infatuated with her that he became ill. The Bible says in the second book of Samuel, chapter 13 that Absalom, son of David, had a very beautiful sister named Tamar. Amnon, another son of David, fell in love with her and became so infatuated that he even became ill. He thought it was impossible to possess his half-sister, since she was a virgin and had no right to meet with any man. Amnon had a very clever friend named Jonadab, son of Shimeah, brother of David. Jonadab suggested that Amnon pretend to be sick and ask King David for Tamar to come and prepare food for him. Amnon followed the advice and pretended to be sick. When King David came to visit him, Amnon asked for Tamar to come and prepare food for him. David sent Tamar to Amnon's house to prepare food for him. She went and found him lying in bed. She prepared some cakes there where he could see her and baked them. When she offered the cakes to Amnon, he grabbed her and asked her to lie down with him. Tamar refused and begged him not to force her to do it. She said that this was not something that was done in Israel and that it would be madness. She asked how she could appear before others after that and said that he would be completely demoralized in Israel. She asked him to speak to the king and said she was sure the king would give her to him. Amnon, son of David, forced his half-sister Tamar to have relations with him, even though she begged him not to do it. Afterwards, he was disgusted with her and expelled her from his house. Tamar was sad and alone in her brother Absalom's house. When King David heard what had happened, he was furious. Absalom said nothing to Amnon but hated him for forcing his sister Tamar 2 years later, Absalom invited all the king's sons to a banquet at his house. He insisted that Amnon go, and when he was drunk, Absalom ordered his servants to kill him. The servants killed Amnon, and all the other sons of David fled. While the sons of David were returning home, David received the news that Absalom had killed all his sons. He was devastated and tore his clothes in a sign of sadness. But Jonadab, son of Shimea, brother of David, said that only Amnon had been killed and that Absalom had planned this since the day Amnon forced his sister Tamar. Absalom fled and went to the city of Geshur, where he stayed with King Talmai, his grandfather. David missed him very much and over time came to terms with Amnon's death. Absalom, Tamar's brother, stayed in Geshur for 3 years before returning to Jerusalem with the help of Joab, who convinced King David to allow his return. Although Absalom returned to Jerusalem with the help of Joab, his reconciliation with King David was not true. Eventually, Absalom led a rebellion against his father in an attempt to take the throne. However, the rebellion failed and Absalom ended up being killed in combat. David was deeply saddened by the death of his son Absalom. Even after Absalom led a rebellion against him and tried to take the throne, David still loved him and was devastated by his death. When he heard the news, David exclaimed aloud, "My dear son Absalom! My son Absalom! Who would have died in your place? Absalom, my son, my son." According to the second book of Samuel chapter 18 verse 33. The pain of David was so great that he did not rejoice at victory over an enemy but deeply lamented the death of a son. The story of David and his sons is a sad one that shows us the importance of taking good care of our children and our family. David was a great king, but he had problems in his role as a father. He was unable to protect his daughter Tamar from being raped by her half-brother Amnon and was unable to prevent Absalom from killing Amnon in revenge. Absalom, in turn, led a rebellion against his own father and ended up being killed in combat. These tragedies show us that even being a great leader, it is important to take good care of our family and our children. We must be present in their lives, listen to their concerns, and help them grow in a healthy and happy way. Family is one of the greatest treasures we have, and we must value and protect it always. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't forget to subscribe. In addition, we will be releasing a video about the complete story of Absalom, Tamar's brother. God bless you. A big hug.